So, Castlevania is a series, and I have some experience with Castlevania, but not much. What's yours?
I love Castlevania. I haven't played a lot of the later titles, like the handheld games from like the DS, Game Boy Advance, those games. But I did play the classic games and up until like Symphony of the Night, and then I played a couple of the PS2 games. So that's my experience. But I absolutely love classic Castlevania. And I don't have too much experience with the Metroidvania styles, beyond Symphony of the Night, so I can't really commentate on that. But classic Castlevania is up my alley for sure.
Nice. You probably have more experience than me with it. I have dabbled in a few. I've finished 3 now. Originally, I finished the 64 version, which I know is your favorite.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a great one.
So good.
I like it anyway. I finished the NES one on the eShop, so I did kind of use some save states for that, but that was a toughie, the first one.
So what you're saying is that you're a cheater?
Yes. And I absolutely cheated through this next one too, but I'm so happy I did because, I've owned it. I've owned it on the Genesis, and now I finished it on the Genesis Mini, which is another topic for another day, but it's Mini Castlevania Bloodlines.
Yeah, dude, this is the Castlevania game that your mom wished they had. Because I don't know, I don't know where the hell I was going with that.
Your mom wishes she had it so she could sell it at her garage sale, and even then, she would probably underprice it.
I think this is probably, in my opinion, the most underappreciated classic game. Everyone knows Castlevania 1 is good, and 2 is not, and 3 is cool, and 4 is awesome. But Bloodlines is one, maybe not the most underrated. I think maybe Rondo of Blood is the most underrated classic. But I think Bloodlines is one that definitely is overlooked a lot.
Yeah, and I think part of it's awareness. And, on the actual Genesis, if you want to collect a copy of Castlevania Bloodlines, you're going to be paying top dollar. I was lucky to get mine complete in box, but this is one of those sought after Genesis titles, and after playing it through, I can definitely understand why.
Yeah, well, it's just like it's one of those games like one of those rare times where like a third-party game was exclusive to Genesis, and it's a big title. It's Castlevania,
and it's really polished. Like, this is a really competent platformer in so many regards. To me, some of the standouts are, the combat is very clever. There's a lot of clever ways that the developers program the levels, and even some certain cyclical elements, things that will repeat. They have some interesting twists on platforming. I know there's the famous part of level 6, which is, part of the screen is distorted, so half of it is like pushed forward, and it makes the platforming a real bitch. There's also some really cool mini bosses and bosses, and then just the entire aesthetic. You're traveling through Europe, and you hear this kind of eclectic array of OST. Part of it's some classic Castlevania remaster, but then there's also some very ominous and dark gothic romantic themes. Those are some of the things I think of when I think of Bloodlines.
What do you think about the way the game plays, like the classic Castlevania formula?
Okay, there's a nice twist on that formula here. You have 2 character choices, John Morris and Eric Lagarde. Supposedly, they are ancestors of the Belmont family. Don't quote me on that. That's just from the intro scene. But the Belmont family is cursed to always have to fight Dracula and his reincarnations, and the story is, consistent here. I love the options, and both characters play interestingly and have unique challenges in some of the stages, but not all. You're not really missing out if you play one character as opposed to the other. I will say, though, that John Morris uses the whip, which is the classic Castlevania item, while Eric uses the spear, and that has a bit more reach. I found it a lot more accessible to play as Eric, and also he can aim his spear diagonally when on the ground, which is not something Morris can do with the whip, surprisingly. So that makes it a little hard to play as him.
I know a lot of people have issues with this game because of it coming out. I think it came out after Castlevania 4, and Castlevania 4 kind of it abandoned the NES, like the I don't know, the controls, I guess, and this one kind of went back to the NES controls. What do you think about that?
I think it plays great, and I think it also doesn't have a lot of the issues that I remember from Castlevania 1. What I remember from Castlevania 1 are some annoying-ass Medusa heads that, just kept respawning and making every, portion of certain stages, annoying. They were just really frustrating. But this game doesn't feel frustrating. It's almost like, what am I going to see next? There's a checkpoint system, so each level/stage is broken into like sections, and the game is very fair. You can start with 3 credits and 5 lives, giving you a total of 15 lives. In case you die, you have a health bar, and there are certain sections where you get the roast beef in the wall. There's not many, so it makes it a nice challenge, but the game is very fair in spite of having that classic feel, and I don't actually mind that. I think that's a testament to the potential that Castlevania has and shows on the NES. It shows that formula does still work.
Yeah, I never minded the NES class of like the classic feel. I know there's a lot of people that love Castlevania 4. I love Castlevania 4. Don't get me wrong, but I've never minded the classic feel, the classic controls and stuff. Even though there is a little bit of annoyance with the kickback when you hit like an enemy or something. Like that can kind of be hard for platforming, especially if you're trying to do some jumps and something hits you in the midair and it kind of throws you back off the platform. So yeah, that can be a little annoying, but I've never minded that game feel.
I will say that you're absolutely right. When you play as John with the whip, there's a couple sections where you just really wish you had that extra reach with the whip that Eric has. And if you get hit, like on stage 4 in the Berlin factory on the rotating pistons, I think that's what you call them in our Sonic the Hedgehog map out.
Yeah.
If you try and hit one of the skeletons that throws that wrecking ball, you can't reach him, so you have to jump on the platform and try and get him, and when he hits you, he knocks you off. I must have died like 6 times when trying to do a no save state run.
Nice. So Teddy, did you say what you played this on?
The Mini, the Genesis Mini. Which,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I don't want to say much about the Mini because I want to save that for another video, but I will say it plays fine. We've been hearing a lot of criticisms of the Genesis Mega Drive Mini. I have the Japanese version. I have no problems with. There's been no lag. There's been no sound delay. There's been no any of that. I played it twice, and the save states are beautiful. I own this on the original Genesis, and I never finished it, despite there being a password system.
Those save states, man, because I just got the North American version of the Mini last night, and I haven't had time to really play much yet. But I'm going to, and the save state feature is going to help me a lot. I'll probably play through Bloodlines. I'll probably play through some of the other games that are just so damn hard that it's hard to progress past a certain point, especially by yourself. If they're co-op games. So it'll be nice to kind of use that. And Bloodlines is definitely one of them that I'm looking at playing.
Do you remember the levels that much from this game?
No, it's been a while. I know I kind of played it for a minute on the Castlevania Collection on my Switch. I do remember the one level I do remember the most is one you mentioned with kind of like the screens all distorted. I know that one very well because that's like a really iconic one.
There's, iconic is a great word to use because I would say stages 2, 3, and 6 are just iconic in the umpteenth degree. I'm really hurting to do a map out on this game. I hope that you finish it, Alex, so we can talk about it.
Well, I'll have to give it a go on the Mini.
Yes. I'm going to save any more talk about that. And, please let us know in the comments if you'd be interested in a map out of Castlevania Bloodlines.
Dude, Castlevania is fucking rad.
The best. I mean, this really made me want to play more of the series. Like now I want to play that Super Nintendo version. Now I want to play those handheld ones on the GBA, on the DS, because there's quite a legacy with these games.
On the 64.
I would play that one. I'd play it over.
God.
There's two of them.
Lord. Save me.